This video I show how to create the hour list class that was asked for in the lesson notes slides. Hour list, I'm basically creating it to be a container class using a list link. You could inherit from the list link class, but that's not what was asked for. So going with the exact wording of what was asked, we will actually create our list, which will contain a linked list. So here we have our list, and therefore if we're going to create the linked list attribute for it, there we go. Now, there are two methods that were asked for, count and average. Count sums up the total number of letters in all of the items that are in the linked list. Average takes the average, which means it would need the count as its numerator. And since the linked list class has a size method, which returns the number of items in the linked list, therefore that's our denominator. So that part's easy. So we really have to focus on the count. Now, obviously, the use of an iterator is a preferred way of going through a linked list, but this class has to be created before we went over iterator in the notes, so we'll assume we're not using it. So we will create our item here, which is going to return a sum. So we'll return an integer value or count. In order to do this, we basically are going to run through the linked list much as we would an array list, since we're not using an iterator, because we can use an index for a linked list. Not the preferred way of going through a linked list, but in this case, that's what we're going to do. And what we're going to do is get each one, use the length method of the string to count up the number of letters in each item, and that's our total. So we're going to need a running sum. Then a for loop to go through the linked list. And in the for loop, what we're going to be doing is obtaining an item on the list, which is a string type. Now, since we didn't use a template to tell the compiler it's a string, we are going to have to typecast our get. It's just going to get an object, the generic object class. We have to tell it, all right, we are going to treat what we are obtaining as a string. So we will do the typecasting of the item that we get. And we will add the sum item's length. That's what we do inside the for loop. And then we just return the sum. So then our average becomes very simple. We count the sum function, and then we divide by the number of items in the list. Now both of those are integers, so we are going to have to typecast one of these to a double for it to properly produce a double, since division by default in Java is integral. And then we'll simply return the average. and that produces the two functions that were asked for.